A couple of years ago, I made a base accessories video, and now I'm going to update it. This is going to include a lot of new designs that I've pulled from Instagram and other creators. I'll be sure to link as many of them as I can in the description below. Please be sure to go check them out. Some of them are my designs, some of them are combined with other designs I've seen, but it's really hard to pinpoint who designed what. So if you recognize any of these creations, shout them out. But we got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. All right, first off, we're gonna start pretty simple. I just have a bunch of these cylinder pieces all connected together with these circular tiles on top, and it's all just joined together by rubber bands. You can have them all in a ball like this, standing up, or you can have them flat on the ground like this. Whatever like suits your fancy. These can be any color you want. This is just a really easy, quick little kind of side thing. All right, next up, I really like these. These are kind of like, I want to say like missile holders, or they could just be like tube crates or something like that. I don't know. You can go really simple with it with this. It's a 1x2 rounded plate. And inside are rods. So all you do is just stick it on there and boom, there you go. So these are the cone pieces. These are cylinders. Yeah, it all just kind of fits together. You can go a little crazy like in this one, but this just has, 6 cones on top. It has a 1x3 plate on right there. And then you got a bunch of cylinders on the bottom, and you just take 2 halves, put a couple rods in, and then you're able to just press it on there and boom, there you go. Holds together pretty well, and it's pretty easy to make. Nothing too crazy or technical, but you can do this in different colors or anything like that. Maybe get a little fancy with it, maybe add some like plating here for like a control panel or something like that, but something really cool just to add into like maybe a coaxium refinery or something like that. But yeah, very cool. All right, let's move on to barrels. I really like barrels. They kind of go anywhere in the galaxy of Star Wars. Take this 2x2 rounded or circular tile, put it on the bottom of like this cylinder grooved piece here. That'll be your base. And then I have a 2x2 plate, cylinder here. And then I don't even know what this is. It just has a cool hinge, and you can just put it on the bottom there. Just adds, it's kind of like a handle maybe, but it just looks really cool. Just like not a really common part. And that's kind of like the point with like a lot of these is like adding just really cool parts to it. So for example, this on top here, let's see if I can get it off. This is like one of the 2x2 spinners that rotate and all that stuff. You just kind of pry it out of there, and then it has this little like stud or thing on the top there. It adds a lot to it, and when you look at it, you're like, is that Lego? And then the same with this. I'm not really connecting any studs here. It's just a rod holding it together. I believe it's still legal, don't quote me on that, but yeah, I just have a gear piece in here, just add a little more detail in there, and boom, there you go. All right, now this is where it gets fun or complicated, I don't know. So I have here, if you can see this, I have 1x1 tiles on the inside of these circular plates, and they kind of fit in there. It takes a little jerry rigging to get in there. You gotta manipulate it a little bit. It has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it's not gonna fit. But yeah, it kind of goes in there. You put it on either end, and then you cap off the top, and boom, there you go. Like you can do a lot with these. For example, I have 2 stacked high here. All right, if you can see here, I have a 2x2 circular kind of like jumper, I guess you can call it, and then the circular tile with the hole in it. And basically what you do is just connect those two, and boom, there you go. You got them together there. You can line it up to make sure all the lines go the same way, but then you have a 2 tall one, and it's gonna hold. It's not gonna come apart or anything like that. For example, this one, I have the tiles facing opposite than they would be here. Again, adds a little more dimension, a little more detail, something you can do with all this stuff. Right here I have like one of these like cone pieces, and then on top I have a steering wheel, which kind of looks like a valve or something like that. So that's another thing you can do, is add like steering wheels that look like valves. Ooh, also you can do it with grill pieces. It doesn't only work with tiles, it also works with the grill pieces. All right, let's enter the world of crates. Crates are all over the Star Wars galaxy. in the universe and stuff like that. We got these in the Marauder, and these are fantastic. It has the Imperial logo on there, some Arabesh, I think it's called. And then, you know, you can actually put stuff in it, which is really, really awesome. These are great for adding to different things, but also sometimes it's just like a little too much. You have too many of them and you just want some variety. So here are a couple options here. This piece, I don't even know. It's a 1x2 with like a groove here. I don't even know what to call it, but just putting a tile on top and a plate on the bottom, and boom, there you go. You got yourself a simple crate, but it adds a little dimension in there, you know. And again, we saw this in a set with like the Mandalorian and stuff like that. It's basically, you know, that crate part, but this time I just switched it out for that one we got in the Marauder set. And you got yourself a pretty simple crate, but you can take it a step further. You know, you can do it in different colors. Like this is all black with a little bit of texture on here on the front. You can't really see it too much. Or you can just do it in light gray, you know, whatever suits your fancy. You can go orange, yellow, mix and match colors. It's really, really cool. But I did these so you can easily see them. Let's say you have a lot of ingots. You could probably do this. I don't have a lot of ingots, so I don't use this all the time. All right, so you want one of these pieces where there's studs all over it. It's not exactly 2 bricks tall, but a fancy SNOT brick with it on all sides except the back. And you don't even have to use ingot pieces. You can use different colored tiles or jumper plates or whatever you want to use, honestly. But if you do it on all sides, all angles and stuff like that, it just kind of gives it like this really cool kind of like bumpy Star Wars kind of feeling texture, you know. All right, now to get to my favorite crates, honestly, because it is using the spring-loaded shooter, and as many of you know, is like one of my favorite pieces. You got some studs on top so you can connect a bunch of these together. I added a 2x4 plate on the bottom, so when you add it into stuff, it's not directly on the floor, but you can easily remove this. All right, there we go. It has the plate off the bottom and it just sits flushly on the ground and stuff like that. It looks super cool. Definitely one of my favorite crates out of all of these, and you can go really crazy with it. You know, different designs and stuff like that. If you just want it like in all light gray, that works too. You know, it looks great. Highly recommend it. But yeah, definitely my favorites. And I'm kind of lying. These are my favorites. I've seen these all over Instagram. They look really, really cool, and I'm going to show you how to make them real quick. So instead of just taking these apart and showing you, you know, like this, I'm just going to show you some PDF instructions that I made. It's just going to be a lot easier for you guys to see and me to show you. But it's super simple. It does require a lot of the cheese wedge pieces, but you can customize this however you want. As you saw, I have a tan one, and then I have this light gray and dark gray version. I like to add the handlebars on the side. That way the troopers have something to carry or move or something like that. But there's a lot of opportunity to add like a lot of different like panels and, you know, tiles, grills, anything like that. So this one honestly is my favorite just because of the amount you can do with it. It doesn't have to be just like some monochrome color like this. You can go with yellow and black or orange. I've seen a lot of orange and it looks great. So yeah, and it's like you don't have to, for example, this one has the cheese wedges with the tile. You could also just do like a regular slope here, you know, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want with it. It'll look really good and unique. All right, these I really like because they're kind of like generators. I don't know what to call them. I got this from Hippolyte. I believe I saw in one of his videos. I can't think of it exactly, but he didn't give a tutorial for it. He just showed it on screen, and I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. I need to figure out how to build it, and I think I did. Again, I'm just gonna pop up instructions on how to make it, but it requires a good amount of pieces, but it is definitely worth it. It's not super fragile. It stays together pretty well, but it is just like you gotta move parts just right just so they stick, but the end result is awesome, especially with the little tiny gaps in between there. I did it with more rounded parts as opposed to these sharp angled parts. but the results are pretty similar, but also like super unique. This one looks like a lot clunkier or beefier, and then this one looks like a little more sleek, you know, but maybe you want like this like bulkier kind of version, or you just don't have the parts for this. But here's another option for you. Honestly, both look great and great additions to maybe some outposts or something like that. All right, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. This is an antenna, clearly, and then there are so many different ways to make antennas. Basically, it's just whatever rods you have. This is an actual antenna piece that I put on the top here. But as you can see here, I just have like a regular rod here. This one is just another arm with a rod into it. Doesn't need to be crazy, doesn't need to be fancy. I have a lightsaber hilt going into like one of these other special rods. But yeah, so again, it's just like whatever you have at your disposal, just kind of stack together, mess around with. You know, you don't have to go exact with like anyone's design or anything like that. It's just playing around and just trying to add as many of these as possible. As you can see here, I have a mix of hinge pieces and just other smaller rods coming out of here. Again, it's nothing crazy, nothing fancy. It's just getting a lot of those small parts all working together to create a really cool antenna. All right, I'm really excited to show you guys this. It looks really good. It's right at kind of like just below their chest level. You know, not quite up to the shoulders, so you know they can still get their arms over for blaster fire and good coverage and stuff like that. Looks really good. And again, for this, you don't need to do anything crazy. You can keep this all tiled off if you really wanted to. You need to have a 3x6 or whatever you decide to do. But it's really important because you need to use this inside stud right here. It's gonna be right in the center there. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your 1x1 stud, put it in there. But yeah, so you can, you know, make as many as you want of these, you know, line them up. You can have them as long as you want. If you really wanted to, you know, you can combine them and stuff like that. It does not matter. You can have a whole bunch of these kind of all in like a semicircle or something like that. But again, it just looks really good, especially if you have some crates next to it. Some crates, maybe some barrels, you know, maybe this little gizmo, you know. Now you're kind of seeing the vision that we're going for, you know, just a bunch of accessories that kind of all go together. All right, next up I have some weapon racks. This is kind of overkill. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like, this is huge. I don't know if y'all would want it, but it is way bigger than a minifigure, and you know, it doesn't look too bad. It's just bulky. It's just too big. So I went ahead and made some other ones. So for example, this one can fit both the small ones and the long blasters. Again, this is way smaller, way more compact, just a little more, I don't know, believable. But essentially it's just you got a few layers here. You're gonna have your base layer that's gonna have your SNOT brick on it, and then right above that you're gonna have your brick. You're gonna have a tile right here. I don't know if you can see that, a tile. You're gonna have another brick, and then you're just gonna have your top. In this case, I have a slope piece, or you can just tile it off. If you want kind of like lights or display or something like that, add a bracket part, and then you can add in some translucent stuff. And then on the sides, I just have a 1x4 wing piece, and I'm just putting that on the side. And it's the same thing with this kind of like grenade rack. This looks pretty cool, but again, it's just going to be your base layer of SNOT brick, and then you know your SNOT brick for the grenades, and then your top part, and that's just going to go on top like this, and boom, there you go, easy peasy. You can customize these pretty well, but yeah, again, just something super simple. Don't need to overthink it, but you can add this anywhere, and it doesn't have to be locked into studs. You can just place it anywhere you want. Okay, so last video I did a bunch of carts, like push carts, and people were really confused about that. I just liked the carts, and I liked that it like kind of all went together and stuff fit on top of the carts and all that stuff. So now for this one, I have another cart version. This version a little more accurate to the Star Wars lore. So in this case, you know, you got that little kind of forward backward motion rod there at the front within the yellow. But I have two different versions, one with siding and then one that's flat. It's again, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. If you look on the bottom here, is just a this is a 4x8 with two more, so it's a 4x10. And you can make this as long as you want. I have some slopes, inverted slopes here to make it smooth, a little smoother when going across studs and stuff like that. If you just want like one crate on top of here or something like that, like really stitched in there. And then for this, you know, you can go a little bulkier, you know, have something bigger. You know, even this ginormous, you know, weapons rack or something like that. Or multiple weapons racks, you know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. But yeah, just wanted to show off some carts. I like the carts, but yeah, carts are always fun. Okay, now this is something I've been wanting to show you guys for a while. I designed this a while back, but it is some displays for like a command center and stuff like that. My last video, I had something like this in there. People liked it, and I'm super appreciative, but I'm like, just, you know, it doesn't look great. Looking back on it now, I think I can do better, and I feel like I did. So again, this is kind of using the same parts from this, because when I saw this, I was just like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I love this style and design. Why can't I incorporate that into this? So I did. So I will flash some instructions on here real quick, but essentially it's just some screens from window panes and stuff like that on lever bases. So that's what's holding it together. It's kind of just friction fit, but it works, and it just takes some simple SNOT pieces to all connect. So I have this version, which is just a front facing one. And then I have another version, which is like a corner version. This, you can add like smaller displays and then a bigger display and stuff like that. And you can have them all sitting right next to each other. You know, it'll look pretty good. But I like it when they're spaced out. You know, minifigures are able to walk in between and stuff like that. But yeah, essentially you can place these wherever. They don't need to be locked down. They stand up on their own. But if you want to lock them down, you can. You know, you have that ability. But I really like this corner one. You could have like, you know, 4 of these and kind of like make yourself like a box, and then, you know, but just so many options with these. I really like these. They're kind of my favorite out of all of the stuff I've shown you. That's why I'm saving the best for last. You know, only the people that stay to the end of the video get the good stuff. You can even just use tiles on the front of here with some cheese wedges on here to kind of give it that slope effect and that slope look. But definitely this piece that I'm using gives the best look for it, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let's go back to main cam, and then we can get you the outro. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you took something away from this video and can add these to your own MOCs. Again, be sure to go down into the description and check out people's Instagram pages and YouTube channels. There are a lot of great MOC builders out there, and I want to make sure they get recognized. If I missed anything in this video, let me know what you would like to see down in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a part 3. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.